Okay. Starting off. Very good. Good evening, Crowing Dangle. Dungeon Gulpers. How we doing, everybody? Yay! Welcome in, welcome in. Didn't do a lot of build up for this stream, but you know, trying to be a little bit consistent. And this one probably going to be just an hour or so. But I wanted to hang out with y'all. Hmm. His head is too wide. Yeah, Developers was the only show I got into on GlitchX. Oh, thank you. That's a nice compliment. I'll take that. Thank you. Still, obviously, I wish I could make more of it quicker so we could all see more episodes, but it's taken its sweet time. Appreciate your patience. Surprise stream. Yes, that's right. Uh, I really would like to. I had a lot of fun last Sunday doing that first stream, and I'd like to do them more often. Next Sunday, I know I'm going to be busy, um, so there won't be time for one next Sunday. But I figured, you know, we'll keep it going. I don't think I can do 3 hours like last time, but I definitely like to at least spend an hour with y'all, do a little drawing. As I said last stream, most of the time when I'm working on stuff or doing anything art related or anything, I'm working on the episode, um, working hard on that. But it means that I don't get a lot of time to draw fun stuff and actually just do some actual draw things. Since I do a lot of rigged animation, it's a lot of sliding things around. So some drawing practice, some like getting to kind of branch out into new kind of ideas and territories for things, and interacting with y'all. So it just seemed like a win-win all around. So I'd like to keep at it with these streams. Finishing up dinner, gonna start drawing again too. Oh, good, nice, yeah. I like the idea of us all kind of drawing and working together. That sounds nice. Thank you so much for answering my questions last time. I'm sorry there were so many. ADHD, autistic, and have zero art experience, but want to start my own show someday. Oh, no problem, Arriver by the Sea. Yeah, if I recall correctly, you had a lot of good questions. And also, and honestly, it helps me think of things that there's certain things about the world that I hadn't thought about. That kind of inspires me to start thinking about how some of these things work. Case in point, right now, As you may or may not be able to try telling, I'm kind of imagining what a coffee machine might look like, which I feel like so often with dungeon flippers, I'm like, what if it were a skull? And some of my things, it's like, skulls, bones, yes, these are good. This is the aesthetic choice I'm going for. But a skull coffee carafe, I think sounds kind of metal, kind of cool. I'm trying to put the handle on the back side of the head because I think obviously, you know, instead of pouring out the top of the skull, like you'd maybe push a button and the jaw would unhinge and some of it would pour into your cup through the mouth. That makes sense to me. Do I play Pal World? I do not. I played. I was kind of late to the game with Pokemon. I played a few Pokemon games, but now I have not played Pal World. It seems pretty cool though. I know there's a lot of cool creatures in it, and it's a big open world thing if I remember correctly. Looks neat, but I don't have a lot of time for big games, unfortunately. The perfect world, I'd have time to make cartoons, do my day job, and have time for video games, and sleep. But a few of those things have to go. If I recall correctly, one last stream asked if there was a name for the world that this show takes place in. I thought that the name was Splendor, which I've kind of used loosely to describe like the realm or the place that it takes place in. And I think I went into a little bit detail to where there are places probably maybe more of the region, but I guess everyone's a little bit geocentric, no matter where you're from. So they kind of just consider the realm to be the land that they inhabit. When in truth, there are places that probably go far beyond where they may call certain areas different names. But for the scope and scale of the show, the majority of it takes place in this region that they refer to as Splendor. But as the world widens, I may have to start coming up with an actual name for the whole plane and the world. Ooh. Let's see, Travis, I have 0 art experience, 25. 25 feels young to me now, so don't feel like you're too old now. I feel like it's late for me to start to give a shot at art and writing a show and making. Everyone my age is already experienced and already making their own shows. It's tough. I know it's always tough because there's always seems like there's people who are younger and more experienced or younger and more skilled making things, but like as long as what you're making is genuinely something you enjoy and you keep the scope of what you're making, you know, feasible. Like, you know, I wouldn't expect to start with a feature film with like, you know, Disney level quality or anything. But if you can make like a short thing that's, I don't know, just fun, that could be like, I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds as art, or just doing some drawings, like doing what's comfortable to start off and kind of taking things at a comfortable pace and doing things that make you feel happy as a creator, as opposed to trying to skyrocket to stardom or be able to, you know, make a film series or whatnot. Just, you know, doing what's comfortable, but you're never too old to start doing stuff. I think I didn't graduate art school till around 24 or 25, and then, you know, I had to worked in the industry for a long time, so. And even then, so I'm in my late 30s now, kind of getting my my start really making my own stuff. So it just takes time. It takes patience and enjoying what you're making. I make Molly Hug Chillette. I'll look up what a Chillette is. Oh. That's a cute thing. It's a little weasel thing. Interesting. I might. Challette looks kind of like big old ears, lanky. actually have the tab open where I can. For future reference, we keep. It's got anime eyes. Got little bubbly whiskers. And then it sits back. A little. I think I made it a little too fat, but that's okay. It's got little arms, little curvy feet, and it doesn't have a mouth. That's okay. I'll keep this thing visible for a little bit. We'll see. I'm gonna draw with you right now. Okay, yeah, just draw along. Plain paper and ballpoint pens. I love it's one of those things. I did go to art school, so I have had some practice with paint brushes, and you know, I'm drawing on a Wacom tablet. But man, a good old cheap ballpoint pen and any kind of paper, like and like I love. I think ballpoint pens are some of my favorite art making tools. The cheaper, the better. Oh, didn't have enough room for. Hollowed. Might be misspelled. Hollowed. Hollowed. Rounds. Bring that down a little bit. Which that implies that their coffee is made out of dirt. But I don't know, maybe it's special dirt. Yeah, Skullface coffee pot. Like I said, maybe instead of the lid opening up top, it'll open out the bottom. I'll need to draw that, how that works. There would still need to be a round of the head. There would need to be a hole where the coffee goes in. I'm sure this would be very impractical in real life, because it would just completely, like, a giant torrent of coffee just pouring down onto your coffee counter, scalding hot. Maybe a part of it could open up. It goes bleh. That's how I do it. If I was in charge of the Mr. Coffee Corporation and they said, we need a design for our new line of Mr. Coffee machines, I'd say, what if, bear with me, the Coffee Correct was shaped like a human, or well, maybe not a human, I like the having the fangs, some kind of skull that would shoot coffee, that would blurg out coffee from the mouth. Just in time for Halloween season. I could sell it at Spirit Halloween stores. Hey, everybody. Good to have y'all here. I'm kind of just doodling stuff, just drawing things. For those who may have come in a little bit later, I'm thinking of having this stream be a bit shorter. We went for 3 hours last time, which was fun, but whew, my voice was tired after all that answering all those questions. And I'm hoping to do a little animation work later on, which I would also love to share at some point, me doing some like live animating, showing my process, how I use the rigs and everything. But I really have to lock in and be really focused on those. So I don't think I could do that and keep track of chat at the same time just yet. Plus, it's as you may or may not know, a very slow process. So it wouldn't be as fast and fun as drawing, or like if someone wants me to draw something randomly, it'd be a little hard for me to pull myself away from what I'm doing. So maybe just an hour and a half, maybe. We'll see how we're feeling. But trying to keep consistent, or I'd like to, keep doing these Sunday streams. What's chat saying right now? Bond paper. What do you suggest I draw? Ooh, I don't know. I mean, usually my go-to is just drawing my OCs. My characters are a lot of fun. Or maybe, I don't know, much like my attempt at drawing this little Palworld creature. If there's a video game you've been playing, maybe draw a character from the game you've just played. Or a show you've just been watching. Just whatever's on your mind, sort of. It can be a lot of fun. Hallowed grounds. Yeah, spooky coffee grounds. I hope you learn how to use Unreal Engine and learn to make a game. Nice. No, yeah. As I was talking last time on the stream, it's there's just not enough time in the day because I'd love to learn like how to make video games, to make dungeon flipper games, which a visual novel wouldn't be the hardest to start with, but learning Blender, learning Unreal Engine, learning Unity, all that stuff, like, go for it. That's awesome. Let's see. Is there a Discord server of yours I can join? Not yet. I don't know. I haven't what's the word? Moderated a server before, so it's a little bit daunting. But I'm thinking about it. That way I could keep y'all in the loop of streams and any other goings on and stuff. So maybe here in the future I might make a Discord server for Dungeon Flipper fans. Give little updates on how the episode's coming along. Let's see, her eyeline is a bit off. The other day at work, I work with cartoon stuff, like calling me out for like, why does this character look cross-eyed? And I'm like, it's more appealing when they're cross-eyed. They're cute when they're cross-eyed. But obviously that didn't fly. There are sometimes you can't be making them cross-eyed, but I often do. Let's see. Talking about glitch stuff. I mean, yeah, they're kind of diversifying their show stuff. Like there's, Knights of Guinevere and Lackadaisy, Gameaverse, Gaslight. I don't know. I think they're all doing great. I think honestly, having them start with a good flagship show, and then being able to focus on making things that are a little more niche, a little more unique, or a little more like a little more niche is nice. Having a couple pillars to lean on as opposed to just one. So I don't know. We'll see how they go, but they're all good shows. Wishing the best for Glitch's many productions. Let's see. Question: are any of the other characters that work with Cleveland and Molly of the LGBTQ? Yeah, I think a lot of them are some degree of queer. The it's been a while since I kind of first thought of it, and I will see how it plays out. But part of the idea was like of Karen being ace and aromantic. So that's Cleveland's mom. Mort being non-binary. I don't always do the best at using Mort's pronouns properly, embarrassingly enough. But I thought of Mort being non-binary. They're very long-lived and have lived a lot of different lives. So it seemed appropriate and perhaps what's the word? Words flying out of my head. But no, yeah, they're all mostly a little bit of something, a little bit. But the specifics I'll have to kind of feel out a little bit. Let's see. Let's see. Have you ever tried drawing tars? Like a centaur? Interesting. Oh, hear you, man. 2003. Gotta go. Oh, it's nice having you on. Let's see. What would you prefer to fix pacing? Make the episodes longer to fit writing, or redo the script to fit the allotted time? Usually, or it's one of those things. In a perfect world, I'd love to have long episodes, but oftentimes it's kind of a smarter idea just for everyone's sake to kind of trim things down and have the episode be a little shorter, a little tighter. When I was, kind of in the earlier phases of writing the script for episode 2, I had a lot of stuff that I had to cut out. It's, like, just because it would have been like 40 or 50 minutes long. There were a lot of extra characters that would have been a lot of fun, but, they added a lot of extra time and didn't add a whole bunch to the story, aside from a few fun jokes and some through lines. So it's one of those really tough things about filmmaking and a lot of different kinds of arts forms, is that you gotta keep it trim and keep it fairly light to fit the time and stuff. Which is always tough too, because I know oftentimes I get, especially for making for things for YouTube, which I do for my day job, my feedback is usually like, we have to, make this establishing shot shorter, or make this thing snappier and quicker, and I'm like, oh, we're just, it's getting too snappy, we're just jingling keys for the audience. But there's, good editing, good pacing, quick timing on things. It's an important skill to have. It's a very difficult balancing act, though, because I also love, a lot of shows that take things slow and have a slow build up, or slow burn kind of thing. So it's tricky. I'm rambling a bit. As far as the art goes, visual novel would be easier because you're sticking with 2D, less emphasis on animation. It's true. I could honestly use the rigs and polish up the art and poses. Like I could, knock out a lot of the character work for a visual novel, and then just focus on backgrounds and story, of course. So it wouldn't be that hard of a jump making a visual novel, but I would have to learn how to code and program. How is episode 2 going? Just me, just just asking. Episode 2 is going good. It is it's lengthier than I was thinking. It is about 25 minutes currently, which I'm hoping to shave a few minutes off just with tight timing in the editing process. But no, yeah, I've got a few scenes animated, and they're looking pretty good. I'm doing a lot of the compositing as I go, because I'm doing a lot of the compositing in Toon Boom Harmony, which I animate in. And since I've done some compositing in Harmony, and I'm kind of matching similar stylings with the pilot episode, I can kind of plug and play a lot of the same stuff. So we're cruising along. I'm excited to see like scenes getting finished and animated and stuff. Because it's I keep feeling like Kronk. I'm like, oh, it's all coming together. Yeah, we got all the money in the world. Yeah. That would be nice. Finding a balance. Too much key jingle for sure. Yeah. That's the art of filmmaking. I feel like is you gotta keep things entertaining, but you can't make it too fast or too slow. I don't know. A very stock pose Molly here. Alright, I think I might draw something different now. I do like this coffee setup though. I need to write to the home goods store and say, hey, get this coffee pot built. I know they've got I think I went to the home goods store around Halloween time and they had a really nice it was a liquor decanter with little skull drinking glasses that looked really cool. I feel like they the kind of stuff home goods store would like. What should I draw next? What do you do outside of animating and drawing? I do take kung fu classes twice a week, which is nice. I really enjoy that. It's important to get physical exercise, especially for us artists who are always sitting down at our desks all the time. But it's been nice. It's Northern Shaolin Kung Fu. So getting to learn a lot of traditional forms and techniques. A lot of good, mind, body, spirit stuff. I really dig it. I'm doing it for about 4 years now. I don't consider myself to be especially good at it, but once again, that's fine. It's a hobby. Other than that, I have a fair amount of musical instruments, like a keyboard, a few guitars, ukulele. I have a theremin somewhere, if I want to make spooky noises. Like I did write the songs or the musical numbers in the pilot. My composer Jake, made the arrangements sound good, but as far as picking out the words and the chords and how the song goes, that was me. And there's also a musical number in episode 2 that I got to write. So I do enjoy me some music, and stuff. Much like the kung fu, I'm not like great at it, but I do have fun with it, and that's all you can hope for with a hobby. Northern Shaolin, that's very underrepresented. But yeah, every Kung Fu and dojo I've seen virtually represents Southern Kung Fu. Yeah, a lot of the stuff that you see, it's more Southern style. Like, 'cause I guess that's because of a lot of like famous Kung Fu films and stuff were made in Hong Kong, which is in south of China. And so a lot of those styles, granted, a lot of the northern styles went south to Hong Kong during the middle of the 20th century, but yeah, a lot more southern representation and stuff. Like I don't think that there are too many movies that specifically do the specific style of Northern Shaolin that I do. They're similar, but not exactly the same. Oh, I could draw Molly doing Kung Fu. There's a good idea. I was starting to lose interest in this just half-hearted flex pose. Let's have her doing some kung fu. What could she do? I like the sound of that. So, it is interesting. I don't draw a lot of kung fu poses. Oh, gotta make sure. I have not saved yet. Let me just save that somewhere. Back. Golden Harvest films. Oh yeah, I love those. Let's see. Let's jot this pose down real quick. And some, gotta get the footwork. Molly, I don't think Molly can do a 7-star stance, but she can probably get pretty close. That's a start. Let me. Liquid Ocelot. I live, I die, I live again. Nice. Got any notable movie theater experience stories? It can have anything fun, positive, negative, interesting. I don't know. I haven't been to too many movies lately. Mostly because I haven't. I guess that's because of negative movie experiences. So oftentimes people are on their phones or they're, I don't know. I went to see Goat a while whenever it was in theaters, and there was a big family in the row in front of me, and they had like, you know, iPads going, and it just kind of sucked all the fun out of going to the movies. When people are talking or watching videos on their phones in the movie theater. Let's see. Ooh, people are saying stuff. Let's see. Burger flippers. Did you watch any kung fu movies? Oh yeah. I mean, I feel like my favorites are probably the 36th Chamber of Shaolin and Drunken Master are just classics for me that I really enjoy. I saw the 90s Tai Chi Master movie recently with Michelle Yeoh and Donnie Yen, and it was very good. I really like the old like 70s and 80s kung fu movies where it's often like a static shot of the action, and it's like these long wide shots of them just doing move after move after move and stuff. A lot more like, it seems a lot more skill heavy because they don't have to rely on like editing as much and special effects. I don't know, I like those old kind of cheesy movies. I need to look up some female kung fu outfit to make sure I got details right. Yeah. Interesting. I've not drawn these particular hand movements before, but I like it. Ooh, the eternal struggle of trying to draw Molly with long pants, with the way her legs are, will be challenging. I'll look at it. Ooh, let's see. Yeah, Molly's headbutt would be, she'd have a really strong headbutt. She could probably break through walls. with it, I'm sure. My least favorite indie animation. I'm not gonna. I don't wanna. I don't wanna call out anybody. Because honestly, like, making anything is difficult. So I'm just glad that we're making stuff. Let's see. Shame I can't stay. I need to cook for a party. I just want to sleep because it's been so hot. No, yeah. I mean, get ready for your party. But no, it's good to have you here. 36 Chambers of Shaolin is my favorite. Good taste. Oh, thanks. No, yeah, it's one of my faves. Definitely recommend the 36th Chamber of Shaolin. I'm still kind of blocking in this pose a little bit, but yeah. People are saying stuff. What we got here? Love the pilot. Can't wait to see more. Oh, thank you so much. Oh yeah, I'm getting it's every day getting a little bit further on it, so we'll get there. Oh, you got to see Mr. Y Guy number 2150. You got to see Brand New Day outside the Dolby Theater. Hear the Odyssey. Oh, yeah, I guess if they had the sounds leaking in from the other rooms, that wouldn't be very good. Interesting. It would be funny if there was a character that joined Dungeon Flippers because he thought it meant to flip people off. Or he's done so many times, they have to spell that could be funny. Just keeps flipping people off. They said he was the best flipper in Splendor, but this is what he does. Let's see. Like if you know the Yuan clan and the Lao clan, a bunch of movies outside of major studios in Hong Kong. So much kung fu films during the 70s and 80s titles. Let's see, wait. See if I'm reading this question correctly. They made a bunch of movies outside major studios, and Hong Kong made so many. Any titles you personally like? Now, I mentioned earlier that, yeah, like Drunken Master, 36th Chamber, really good. There's a lot of them for free to watch on YouTube that I've enjoyed over the years. Well, they do start blurring together. They are a lot of fun. I guess as a fan of Drunken Master, I really enjoyed watching Snake and Eagle Shadow, which is proto Drunken Master. It's got Jackie Chan and the old guy who's the Drunken Master in the Drunken Master. It's, you know, kind of the same, kind of the similar story, but like also very good. Snake and Eagle Shadow. This pose I'm trying to work on, which isn't. There's definitely a more dynamic way of drawing it, but it'll be fine. I think I've heard it referred to as the, like, which can't be the accurate name for it, but the Mandarin duck pose, where you're in a 7-star stance. One hand is in a willow palm pose, and the other hand is in a kind of monkey fist. At a kind of, I don't want to say 45-degree angle, but it's pretty neat. Kind of going for the shoulder joints on this attack, while also blocking stuff. I don't know, it's a fun pose that we use in a few forms. I need to get back into martial arts. I used to do it when I was younger, but fell off when I moved away from home. No, yeah, it's I feel like consistent martial arts training is very much a like, a routine of having a place and a time and a system. So any big moves and stuff can kind of throw you off or out of your practice. Uh, I've been enjoying being consistent with it. This monkey paw or monkey fist is kind of interesting. I'm not really good at doing it in real life, because it's like a fist, but your fingers are kind of pointed down, so that you're hitting with a very large, a long, so you have like a long fist basically. Um, it's kind of a weird pose to get used to, and I'm not doing a very good job drawing it. I'm gonna keep at it though. At some point, get it figured out. The thumb usually kind of goes out. Sometimes it's replaced with like a more of a crane beak, but my Sifu is like, no, like this. Let's see. Oh yeah, Tubi's been kind of on the up and up. Um, as you mentioned, LJR Tunes. Yeah, they got a lot of stuff on there. When I was working with Bento Box, I worked on a few movies for Tubi. Uh, what was it called? Postocalypse, Millennial Hunter, and Big Bruh were three movies I worked on for Tubi as an animator. Very fun, very fast. We had a I feel like we made all three of those feature films in a span of about 8 months. It was wild. And then yeah, they've been doing. I think they've been producing some stuff at Tubi. Like I don't know, Tubi might. I have to keep my eye on them. They might be onto something, or might be up to something. Or be interesting people to work with. In this world, Bruce Lee is made of, or metal and stone. Since I heard he was one of the best fighters. Oh yeah, Bruce Lee is very cool. I think it was just on the 4th of July I was revisiting not Enter the Dragon, but Way of the Dragon, where he fights Chuck Norris. I liked it better than I remember. It's still, because I was kind of marveling at the fact that that movie was shot without any it was kind of done guerrilla style, where they were shooting a lot of footage in Rome, but didn't really have permission to, so it was kind of done in secret. And thinking of Way of the Dragon as like more of an indie film, even though it was a big Hong Kong production. I don't know, it made it seem a little more fun. I was able to appreciate it a little more. Fight scenes are always good in those. I may be a few genres off here, but what would your idea of a robot magical girl be like? A robot magical girl. Ooh. Hmm. I don't know. Like, A part of me wants to be silly with it and be like, what if it were a robot magical girl, but like all of her powers are scary, where she's like, flamethrower power. And like she's all happy and like hee hee, but she's like shooting a flamethrower and like burning things down and being very like kind of Terminator-ish. If the magical robot girl saw herself as being a cutesy kawaii force for good, but the people around her were like, oh no, this girl's kind of this, or not this girl, this machine is kind of a menace. I don't know. Could be fun. I don't know. We got. It sounds kind of like it'd be my life as a teenage robot, but magical girls. I feel like with those kinds of those aren't my native genres as far as like the way my mind works. So I tend to be a little bit uh I tend to put a little extra a little extra stink on it, where it's got to have a certain extra spin on things. But I don't know. There's some good possibilities for a robot magical girl. Hey, Wolfkin. Good to have you here. Another stream so soon. Yeah, I'm hoping to try and be a little more consistent with these. Obviously, like, you know, not gonna change the world each stream, but just to have a nice little space where we can sketch and talk and hang out. Oh goodness. 4.99 from Captain Cold Cuts. Thank you so much. That's very generous. What do you see? How does Molly and Cleveland view humans? Would they sell to one? And what do humans think of dungeon business? Oh yeah, I discussed this a little bit. Hold on, how do I like this? There we go. Yeah, I've talked about this a little bit before, but yeah, they're a little bit skeptical of humans. Molly and Cleveland and the dungeon flippers in general are a bit weary because oftentimes humans see monsters as things to be fought against, and I mean, you know, there's probably some reasons for that. There's not all the monsters I know a lot of the monsters I draw here are cute and nice, but a lot of them aren't. So you know, there's reasons, but a lot of the humans kind of tend to, you know, loot dungeons or attack monsters on site and whatnot, or and stuff. So they're very weary. I think if one approached them nicely, they'd probably be more interested in working. Like obviously, if they're paying and stuff, they'd be interested in working business wise. But they're pretty skeptical. Although that being said, you know, there are certain creatures like, you know, Ace of Wands. I don't know what species Ace of Wands is. He might just be a very old human or an old elf. I guess pointy ears. He might be just a very old elf or something. But certain things like wizards, witches, werewolves, a lot of those things that are kind of, you know, blur the lines on, like they, you know, like a witch might be kind of seen as unusual in a village, but they might not like initially like, you know, attack, and they might be able to go. A witch might be able to go to a human town and be fine. So I think there is a gray spot, like a gray zone of kind of humanish. So the dungeon flippers are probably more comfortable and familiar with working. I'm starting to ramble a bit. All that to say, they're not too keen on humans, but there are some good ones, and there are some ones that they could probably work with, for sure. Thank you so much for the question, and thank you so much for the donation. That was very nice. Like, I know I'd like to develop some more human characters, like maybe a reoccurring adventurer character that keeps foiling their dungeons, or like, you know, it's like, oh no, it's, you know, Prince Valiant or whoever was guy who keeps showing up and like messing up with our dungeons, or like an adventure, like a murder hobo D&D campaign that shows up frequently would be kind of funny. But also maybe some like humans that are kind of more you know, work for humans and monsters. Like I was thinking of maybe having my old webcomic character North, who was a fantasy cartographer, perhaps showing up and being like of use to somebody. That could be a lot of fun. Goody magical girl, but every energy beams cause mass destruction. Yeah. Oh no, it's Team Rocket. They keep trying to underbid our properties. Oh, that would actually be really funny if they were like, their whole shtick was just like, yeah, underbidding properties, or like competing, just like showing up at the last minute to like, you know, mess with their sales figures or whatnot. But yeah, a Team Rocket equivalent would be really fun. I like that idea a lot. Let's see, if you watch object shows, which one is your favorite? Not counting. I don't think I watch object shows. I'm not actually sure what that is. Is it like, my first thought is like Pixar movies, how they make movies about things that are objects, but I don't know if that's what you're referring to. But none of those shows are ringing a bell off the top of my head. Hope you guys go big. Thank you. Football head. No, yeah. Keep hoping. Because it's one of those things. I could technically work on a different show idea that might be more successful or whatnot. But there's just something about these characters, this premise, this world that it just kind of scratches all of my itches. And so I'm kind of just sticking with it and enjoying it because I do enjoy this world so much that I don't mind if it's taking a little while for it to kind of, for people to see it, which makes me think about Molly's special magic, her vision, definitely kind of inspired from me trying to create this show, and trying to pitch it around because I pitched it around some before I made the pilot. And I felt a lot like Molly with the Ace of Wands, where it's just like, it's so clear and so obvious to me. I can see it so clearly the way like Molly does all of her little magic. But then, of the Ace of Wands or some of the people I show it to, it does not click, or it does not seem, they just don't see it. And that can be frustrating because, part of it's, I need to working on the pitch, working on the show to help them see it a little bit more clearly, and some of it, just learning how to pitch better and stuff. But it's just hard. It's hard to convey a whole world and a whole idea the way it is in your mind to other people. And I feel like that's a lot of Molly's struggle as a professional, is learning how to kind of work with people and to get her vision seen in a way that's healthy and that works. Let's see. Board game win. Oh, I love a board game. A while back, I was thinking how how easily Monopoly would translate to Dungeon Flippers. It's literally, you buying property and building, in the case of Monopoly, it's like, hotels and stuff. But in this case, it could be like, oh, I got Festering Swamp. I'm going to build a dungeon on it. And now every time you go to the Festering Swamp, you have to pay me, 200 gold coins. So, like, so friends told me that there's on Steam, a kind of board game builder where you could probably do a custom built Monopoly game, and stuff. So that would work really well. You got me talking about board games. There's another game, a D&D board game, Lords of Waterdeep, that I've played a few times, which is fun. That I think would also kind of be an interesting engine, I suppose, for a Dungeon Flippers game. Lords of Waterdeep, you play as a Lord of Waterdeep, but you buy different properties in Waterdeep, and then you have quests that you hire adventuring parties to go on for extra like income and certain perks and bonuses. But I could kind of imagine twisting that into like buying different bits of land to build dungeons, hiring like renovation teams, or like different kinds of like a demo team, a reno team, and different kinds of things. Hosting open dungeons and stuff to acquire properties and sell properties and stuff. It would translate pretty well, I think. So I think there's definitely room for some board games. I just gotta get Hasbro on the phone or something, or Milton Bradley, whoever I need to talk to. It's hard to hard to reach out to those folks. Give me those wizards on the coast. Granted, I don't know, a lot of these names I just dropped, I don't know exactly if I'd want to work with them. Let's see. Also, the reason why the Flipper, oh yeah, is a human for 2 seasons, or for, yeah, 2 reasons. I can't read. Oh yeah, that'd be. Doomtray. God, I know that feeling. I have an idea for a show, and the way I phrased it to people doesn't sound the best. No, yeah, a good, like, it sounds, you know, over, like, sales pitchy, but, like, having a good elevator line, or a good way of just very succinctly explaining the show, like, as simply as possible, usually helps so much. Like, often my go-to line for Dungeon Flippers, I just say, oh, it's, you know, Dungeon Flippers, it's a fantasy real estate show. And usually that's like, oh, I kind of get it. And then I also have my little quip of, like, it's D&D meets HGTV, and that usually gets a laugh, hopefully. And then I can start talking more about, you know, breaking things down from there. But you gotta have to, when you're pitching to people, especially one-on-one, you really gotta kind of read the room. You gotta look deep in their eyes and see if the lights are shining. Because if they aren't, you gotta switch. You gotta figure out what works. Because some pitch lines work for some people, and some don't. And you gotta be able to adjust on the fly. Let's see, object shows. It's a bunch of objects most of the time competing for a prize. Huh. I haven't heard of those. Interesting. I'll have to look those up, the object shows. Huh. Question. Thoughts on Chicken Nugget? I believe cheeseburger are the best couple. Oh yeah, I haven't watched too many of Chicken Nuggets' stuff. I've seen like a few little bits. I know that the lore apparently runs deep on that show. But definitely cute characters. I see the appeal for sure. I just haven't sat down to really fall down the rabbit hole of the Chicken Nugget just yet. But they are very cute. And then I looked at him dead in the eye and said, memes / Travis. This drawing's kind of coming together. It's still a little bit, like I said, for a Kung Fu pose, it's not like super dynamic, like it's not Kung Fu Panda crazy, fist in your face kind of thing, but it's surprisingly technically accurate. Now I just need to draw the face. Already closing in on an hour. I'm having fun though. Gotta go for at least another half hour, I'd say. It is fun. It is a wonderful feeling though when you actually can kind of pitch or talk about your show to a stranger, and the lights in their eyes kind of go off. They start getting it and being like, "Oh wow, that's cool, that's fun." Like seeing them get into it. It is a very good feeling when you can do it right. Once again, there's a lot of people I've pitched Dungeon Flippers to, and they're just like, "Oh, okay." But when I actually have someone who's like, "Oh wow, that's really cool," I'm like, "Yes." Flotsam jetsam, now I've got her, boys. The boss is on a roll. It's nice. I don't know. Because also, like, that's I guess the idea of pitching. Not necessarily to be like, I have to convince everyone my idea is cool, but to share your idea in a way that it kind of, you get to share this cool thing that now lives in somebody else's head. And that's the thing I love. Another reason I love Dungeon Flippers so much is that often, when I get to talk about it, I don't have to say too much. I can just say, you know, it's a fantasy real estate show. Imagine if people did real estate shtick like HGTV in a fantasy world, and it just like it triggers people to start thinking about things. It like activates their imagination to where they already immediately start thinking of their own scenarios. Not scenarios that I say. They immediately start being like, oh, wow. So, like, you could talk about having, like, whether or not your castle has a moat, or, like, or X, Y, and Z, these different things. And, like, that's one of the things I love so much, is when your idea it takes purchase with somebody and in such a way that they already are starting to, like, live in the world. They're already starting to think of fun things that they could do just by imagining all the fun that we can be having. Now please give me $1 million. And stuff. But no, to have that, be able to share it in such a way that other people can enjoy it in the same way that you do, and as a creative experience. That's a nice feeling. I like it when that happens. Roaming Trend compared your show to another indie show as a buddy cop dynamic. Dungeon Flippers was the cop. I could see that. I mean, Molly and Cleveland are very much like, they're a duo. They're kind of... I was about to say, I don't know which one's the good cop and which one's the bad cop. But I guess, it's more of the chaotic and kind of more orderly dynamic. Molly's very happy and a little bit chaotic, a little with her upbeat energy, whereas Cleveland's a lot more composed until he's not. Now that I think about it, I think I remember hearing someone on Twitter or something explain that with the Angry Beavers in a way that I hadn't thought about before. That, like, in the Angry Beavers, there's Norbert and Daggett, and Daggett is he is an angry beaver. He's always kind of antsy about something and is quick to being kind of brash and overreactive, whereas Norbert's very chill and not so much an angry beaver. But that's because he slowly goes from being chill to being very, very angry at the end of the episode. And I hadn't thought about that. And I thought that was neat. They're just... They are both angry beavers, but they're just angry in different ways. And that gives their dynamic a lot more... it makes their dynamic more dynamic, I guess. That's all I have to say. And I guess similarly with Cleveland and Molly. Molly's a little more quick to express or have these emotions. Cleveland won't show it at the beginning, but probably by the end he will have lost. He will have lost his cool, like he does in the pilot, where he's covered in a pile of his own ideas, and stuff. Oh, look at that! This is coming together. And I managed to draw the monkey fist in a way that doesn't look too awkward. Dungeon Flippers is definitely an untapped niche. Part of what attracted me to it. Oh, thanks, LJR Tunes. Yeah, like, it's one of those things. Like, I can't deny that it is, that the premise of Dungeon Flippers is fairly gimmicky, where it's like, oh, it's, fantasy real estate. And because usually I think the initial reaction when I posted the pilot was like, have you heard of a Dragon Goes House Hunting? And it's like, yes. I didn't watch it until like several years after I had already started Dungeon Flippers, but I've seen the first episode. And like, so, it can be done, and it can be done by other people and stuff. But it's a gimmick I like. And it doesn't have to stop with being a gimmick. I think having solid characters with an interesting story and stuff to fill out the show past the gimmick and working with it in a way, harmonizing with it, is what I think keeps it interesting, keeps it on its legs. I think I also remember hearing some comments of like, well, I can't imagine the show having more than a few episodes because you'll run out of ideas. And it's like, not quite. I can like yeah, even if I even think about shows like, Bob's Burgers or Archer and stuff where like, Archer is a show about spies doing spy stuff, but it breaks itself down and keeps itself going and has interesting characters and development. Bob's Burgers is about a family working at a restaurant, but if you watch much of the show, like it does a lot more than just the premise, but still works with it, obviously. Um, it's a good, I don't know, it's a good place to be, a good starting point. So none too surprising. I like Dungeon Flippers. Yay! Thanks Kiwi and Crowing Dangle. I like how this drawing's turned out. I may have to. It's honestly, yeah. It's the line work's looking pretty, or the sketch is looking pretty solid. Like I'd be good. I don't want to bore y'all with inking, or do I? I guess I'm talking. Good to start inking it. I'm having a good time. But no, yeah, I'd like to clean this one up. Let's see. Oh, user NM. Remember last time we were wondering what jobs Cleveland and Molly would have. Do you think Cleveland will also work for NASA and maybe become a CEO, like other jobs he has to do? Cleveland working at NASA. Well, maybe. I think he'd be pretty organized. He could probably pull it off. I don't think he'd want to be in a spacesuit and go up into space. He'd probably get a little bit antsy, especially if he starts breathing fire. But I can see him managing things. I feel like it's not talked enough about, let's see, how much more damaging, painful a kick from a hooved biped would be versus human feet. Oh no, yeah, if Molly did a back kick on you, like a buck from a horse, that she'd it'd be like being hit with a giant hole puncher. You just have a hole taken out of you, probably. Yeah, I feel like well, I was trying to think of how her kicks would be, like a front kick or a like front snap kick or side kicks. She'd like, yeah, if she got her knees up high enough, she could probably still be super effective. But I imagine her back kicks are probably her most deadly of kicks for the way she's built. Oh yeah, I guess you probably could put Cleveland's brain in a thing. Let's see. Was I ever a Toonami guy? Oh yeah, I really enjoyed Toonami. Like honestly, that's what got me into anime as a teen. Was watching Toonami. Like Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon were some of my first animes, but I watched just about everything that was on there in the 2000s. Let's see. Oh wait, and then your follow up. Let's see. Which version of Tom is your favorite design and why? You like the second one? Oh yeah, I think. Let's see. Was the second version of Tom the kind of like first buff one? I think because the first one was kind of like he looked like a 2000s robot that would play your MP3 files for you. Yeah, I think I remember the second design of Tom being very iconic, very solid, very cool. So I'd probably agree with you. Tom's second design is very nice. Oxtronic. I've seen the pilot and liked it. I would like to see it more. I mean, it's there on YouTube. You can watch it whenever you like, and then hopefully here, as soon as I can get you another episode to watch. Let's see. Does social media and capitalism exist in Dungeon Flippers? That is a good question. Um, let's see. I usually, what's the word I've described the socioeconomic of Dungeon Flippers? Um, a feudalist fiefdom, I think I've sometimes referred to it as. Like I don't think I think certain cities and regions have specific currencies, but for simplicity's sake, oftentimes I refer to money as just like gold coins, kind of D&D style. Um, but in certain places, like certain cities like Felcourt or Skullduggery and places, they have a more standardized unit of currency. Um, but it is very kind of region specific. There are certain lawless lands where like there's not a lawless land without a lot of laws. But then there are also, like I said, monstrous cities which do have much more strict rules and laws and have like either kings or council republic kind of things. Um, but it's a little more, like I said, like a fiefdom in the medieval term, where like this is our country, our land, but 20 miles over there, that's a different one, Uh, so there's a little more like they're not quite stuck. Then there is like an, as I mentioned before, like an overlord of monsters, a kind of big bad evil guy of this world. Um, but like with a lot of governing systems and stuff, like not everybody likes them. And so like, well, there are definitely some people, like some forces, who would be like, oh, we have to do what the Overlord says. There's also a lot, both big and small groups of people who are like, that's cool. We're not going to listen to what that guy says. And this can go many different ways. So there is a bit of capitalism. I mean, obviously, the Dungeon Flippers as a company are profiting off of this whole finding houses and dungeons and stuff. So they are on that grind. Let's see. As for social media, probably not as strong as it is. Like there's not like but not as many social media platforms as like in our world. But I do, as I mentioned in some of our earlier streams, the idea of like astral projection and scrying, crystal balls, that they are kind of tapping into the astral plane and having the astral plane being kind of like the internet, as a place that you can, travel to quickly in a non-corporeal form and communicate and research and do things. So it's like the internet. But I don't know how. It'd probably just be a bunch of chat rooms with wizards and stuff talking about spells, all in their orbs, contemplating things. I don't know if every monster and creature would be online just yet. Oh, user, you might have created one of the smartest characters in indie animation history. It took 2 years and a live stream to find out. Oh, thank you. I don't know if you're referring to me or Cleveland, but I'll take the compliment. Kung Fu Molly is a fun idea. Horse hooves are pretty painful to be kicked with, so I imagine Molly's would be pretty strong. No, yeah, she's got strong legs. She got strong legs. She's kind of got strong everything. She's also got like the claws, so she could do eagle claws, tiger claws, dragon claws, all those claws, leopard paws, and referring to kung fu terms. All that to say, like she could, if she actually knew how to do kung fu, she'd be very, very, very dangerous with all the physical attributes she has.
Do I prefer subbed or dubbed anime? Ooh, it really depends. Some of my nostalgic favorites, like Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball, I really prefer dubs. Most things I prefer subs, like modern stuff. But there's a few that I enjoy dubs with. So I'm about 70-30 subs to dubs. But it really depends on the show. Let's see. For you, dub because you don't understand or speak Japanese. Makes sense. Oh yeah, like One Piece, I enjoy dubbed. I know like some of the more emotional parts of One Piece are best captured in Japanese with the characters screaming and being very emotional. But I do enjoy the performances of the dub actors for One Piece a lot. Let's see. If I could give each of your characters one piece of advice, what would it be? Ooh, that's a good question. Ooh, each of them one piece of advice. Ooh. I think a lot of that ties into like what their character arcs need to be, as far as like what they need to hear. Uh, Molly is kind of spending too much time longing for a past, or longing for her past, and needs to look more towards the future a little bit, and focus less on what she's rebuilding from the past and more on what she's building in the present. Cleveland needs to, take some time to think about who he is. Laurel probably needs to feel a little more comfortable being vulnerable and reaching out to other people. Emma needs to learn to get that chip off her shoulder. Morton. I'm also trying to make jokes out of all these. I'm about to say Morton needs to learn to live a little. And Karen maybe needs to learn to take things a little slower. I don't know. Little bits of advice. Mostly just, once again, things that I think are there that kind of tie into their overall character arcs and stuff, but they'll get around to learning those things. Let's see. Do they follow the BRRR strategy? Dungeon real estate investing. Ooh. I need to learn, like I mentioned last stream, that I don't know a ton of like technical real estate stuff. But I'd love to, honestly. It makes me want to learn more about the housing market and like long-term investments and certain financing things, because it all just sounds like witchcraft and sorcery to me. Because I bet there's some really good rooms for like interesting stories and jokes based off of real oddities in the like financial side of real estate. They could be. Let's see, Doomtray says maybe the internet can be a bit more abstract, like the HoloNet from Star Wars. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's kind of the way I'm picturing a little bit, is that it is a place where you can go and like, commune with the ethers. But it's not quite like going on YouTube or Twitter or whatnot. Similar but different enough. It'd be a fun time if you got, let's see, a doodle night with Bath from Sunken Road. Oh yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, I know there's a few of us indie animation folks who do streams. It'd be neat to do just a big O collaboration, like a big O sketch night. That'd be kind of fun.
I have to reach out to them and whomstever I can, and maybe we could do a big art stream together. Because that'd be fun. We might be able to do like, what is it, the Jaxbox games, or like kind of take drawing prompts from people. Like, that could be a lot of fun. I'd be down for that.
The scorpion stinger tail is dangerous already. Oh, for sure.
The talking about kung fu stuff. Well, I do. I'm trained with Northern Shaolin style, which doesn't do a lot of animal stuff, but in our classes we have done like some animal type stuff. One of them being the leopard. I think that's Pao Chen. Leopard fist. And in it, you kind of in this technique that we do, you kind of blink to the side, blocking down with your other fist hidden behind your head, where like your opponent can't really see it until it shoots over the top of your head and like bops them in the face. Which for me, I was like, haha, this is Manticore fist, because the fist that's hidden behind my head is like Molly's stinger that goes whoosh. So yeah, I could see once again Molly might be built for kung fu. It turns out, because that stinger combo could do a block, a strike, then a sting. Every step is a kick.
Let's see, have I seen all those kung fu poses like snake, monkey, animal poses, and all the concept fists like dragon fist? Yeah, I know of the concepts. Like I said, in class we would have a handful of classes where we go over a lot of these different like hand positions for the different animal styles. Like I think they have almost, if I recall correctly, there's almost their own style for each animal. But we were just borrowing a few different principles from a lot of those things. They're very interesting. They each kind of have corresponding elements and the movement styles. I don't know. It's very interesting. But no, yeah, I love me some animal stuff, kung fu, even though we don't
Traditionally do it with Northern Shaolin style.
Let's see. Bowser extension. Yo, this is my first stream with you guys, I think. Oh, good to have you here. For sure. Welcome.
I'm cleaning up this drawing of Molly doing a kung fu pose. Once again, it's gotta be an apocryphal name, but I've heard it being called the Mandarin Duck pose. Which once again, that can't be right. But yeah, Willow Palm over here, and a monkey fist over here. She's in a 7-star stance. She's doing it. She's doing some kung fu over here. So I'm just cleaning this up because I'd love to get this cleaned and colored and like maybe post it on socials later on.
Oh, here we go. The BRRR strategy simplified is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, that
sounds definitely like what they're
what they're doing.
In the next episode, the pilot, they're not really doing any flipping, they're just house hunting. But in episode 2, they are definitely doing the flipping. They are doing the burr. Karen acquires a dungeon, and we get to see them, renovate it, and finding someone to buy it from them. So they're doing a proper flip.
It seems like they're doing the burr. Which I wonder, is that what they? I wonder if is that how it's called? Do they say burr, or do they say the BRR or B4R? I'm not sure, but very interesting. Who has heard of the movie The Brave Little Toaster to the Rescue?
I haven't seen any of the Brave Little Toaster sequels, but I mean, I watched the original one a lot growing up. But the sequels didn't have a lot of the. They didn't seem as dark as the original one, and I feel like even as a child, I appreciated the dark, serious, the dark, serious nature of the Brave Little Toaster. I haven't seen the sequel. Although I did see that I think apparently Brian Doyle Murray plays a supercomputer in that movie. That's kind of cool. I always love hearing Brian Doyle Murray's voice of Captain Knuckles or the Flying Dutchman. Yeah.
We need a fighting game. Ooh, that'd be so much fun.
Me and some other indie creators, or I guess I've been in a few different indie creator discords. I think every now and then we joke about, like, you know, having a Smash equivalent or like a fighting game thing of like our characters. And usually my response to that is Molly being kind of like a Peach clone, but a heavy Peach clone, if you were doing Smash Brothers terms. That she would have similar movesets to Peach, like, you know, being able to pull something out of the ground, but it might be like, you know, a vase or some decor items that she throws, or like her, which I think it's her side A attack, but the instead of a golf club, it could be like a for sale sign and stuff. Having those kind of floaty moves, but being a bit more heavy, would be my if I were to put Molly in Smash, that would be the thing. It's a heavy Peach clone. But yeah, I'd love for Molly and Cleveland to be in a fighting game, as well as a lot of other indie shows. I think would be fun to have them all battle each other. Not necessarily to show who's best, but just to show off cool move sets, cool special moves, all that fun stuff.
Well, let's see. How do you imagine creatures having evolved in this world? Would Molly's ancestors be regular animals who ended up in a magical incident that merged them into one?
The way I kind of thought of this, or I kind of do a mix and match of different mythology stuff. Sort of. I haven't really ironed out the mythology of Dungeon Flippers too hard until we need it. I'm basing a lot of this off the fact that in episode 2, Molly says a fun, not necessarily a curse word, but some kind of exclamation of, like, she says Typhon's talons. Typhon being referring to a monster from early Greek mythology. That Typhon was kind of the father, the progenitor of all the Greek the monsters of Greek mythology. So I imagine that there is kind of what's the word? A lineage for monsters that they can kind of trace back to primordial times, with some of them being, you know, more of the dragons, more of the beastly kind, and it's kind of a retcon explanation to why Molly's Manticore features are a little bit atypical, is that kind of the more beastly monsters aren't too beholden to any kind of pedigree or lineage so much, so their features get a little bit mixed and matched, which also, you know, kind of in some ways creates new monsters or new kind of hybrids. Yeah, something like that. I still need to work out some of the delineation or separating monsters from animals, though, to, you know, once again, like, do the monsters eat other monsters, or do they eat animals, and, like, are certain monsters more like animals? That's still kind of a blurry line I need to iron out, of course. Let's see. Let me zoom out here and catch up on chat a little bit. The gang finds an ancient tomb of spells and incantation, and it's just a real estate company's manual. That's how I feel sometimes. I
especially like insurance, businessy things, long forms and stuff, it just turns into squiggles, and it might as well be an arcane tome, because I cannot make any sense of a lot, a lot of that stuff. Okay, people say burr like burr. It's cold outside. Okay, that's fun. I like that. That's got a little bit of whimsy in that in the real estate game. Between getting slapped by Molly's paw pad, stung by her tail, hit by her fist, scratched by her claws, and kicked by her hooves, how would you rank them from the most to least dangerous? Ooh. I guess we're also forgetting that she could that she could probably bite really bad. I think her bite might be her most dangerous. Then probably her claws. Then tail, hooves, and then paws, probably. I think that'd probably be my ranking from most to least dangerous. But all of them would still be very dangerous. We are all we should all be very thankful that Molly is very kind-hearted and nice and doesn't want to fight people unless she gets really, really mad, and she does her best to not. Because if she really wanted to, she would be very dangerous for everybody. But she is very nice, so we don't have to worry about that. No, yeah, there's three Brave Little Toaster movies. Yeah, slap would be at the bottom. Prince Gojira says, "How is it going, you living legend?" Oh, you blush. Wolfkin, like Peach and Ganondorf. Yeah, basically, yeah, like Peach, but with Ganondorf's weight, basically. Yeah, for sure. It's a world worth developing if you can't make a video game out of it. I don't know. Oh, interesting. So if you're a dragon in this world, do you have to get a license to burn stuff down? No, probably not, but I figure if you do it too many times, someone will probably try to stop you. Which is kind of the same result if you didn't have a license. I guess it's all about foresight, really. I guess if you had a permit to burn stuff down, you'd probably do it, but I don't know. Interesting. Good how you use your mythology for the show. Oh, thank you. No, yeah, like obviously, I got really. I mean, I still love mythology, but I think it was in 4th grade I really started digging deep into, like, Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Egyptian, all that stuff. Like, and I guess any kind of myth, like, and bestiaries and all that stuff. Like, huge inspiration for my love of fantasy and stuff, just coming from myths and folk tales and stuff. So I kind of like to incorporate a little bit of that into the stuff I make. I don't necessarily try to make like one for one, like, oh, this is like, my version of Greek mythology or whatever, but just, once again, pieces and parts, the things that I like from them, or certain stories that I think are really interesting, and kind of finding ways of incorporating them. I like that. Let's see. Imagine dragon flights being regulated like airplane travel. I mean, well, I mean, like, you don't want them running into each other in the air if they were flying. Like, oh no, there's another dragon collision in the air. Let's see. Oh, interesting. Hey, so for the work you do on Dungeon Flippers, do you also make all the background set pieces, or do you get outside help for that? Love your art style, by the way. Thank you, GB Audios. For backgrounds, I do. Those are one of the things that I like having background artists for. A lot of the funds from the Kickstarter that I ran was saved specially aside for my background artist. I got a handful of them who've been working on the backgrounds for episode 2, and they are the same team who worked on a lot of the backgrounds for the pilot. I can do backgrounds. I did a handful of backgrounds for the pilot, but it's not really my forte so much. I'm like perspective. I'll use perspective if it works. It's I can do okay backgrounds, but it's not my thing. I'm more of an animation or animator person. So I leave it to the professionals. But a lot of the stuff I end up doing myself. But that's also one of those things I I need to learn to let other people, take a little bit of the lift off for sure. But backgrounds for sure. Backgrounds. I've had some folks help with setting up some of the rigs. Sound work. I'm not good at sound work, so I definitely I've got sound people helping make sure that the levels are good and the sound effects are right. Because I do not have an ear for sound mixing. And definitely like I can do a little bit of compositing, but I like to have some people who do it professionally to make sure it's looking okay. So no, it's good to have folks whose expertise is those things helping out. Let's see. Dragon powered demolition renovation. Ooh. Oh, and after every time Molly wins, she says sorry if she hurted them. Meanwhile, being dragged to the nearest hospital. No, yeah, Molly would definitely be very much like, oh, sorry about that. And like, she'd probably apologize or whatever afterwards. She doesn't want to fight. But she will if she has to. And in the case of this drawing, she is ready. I think her paws, her paws, I think, are soft and cushiony. But much like with a lot of kung fu stuff, when the whole body is moving at one time, delivering that force, those paw pads will hit you, and then you'll be knocked, 15 feet back. A soft touch from the paws would probably not feel bad, but when she's delivering a powerful double palm strike, it'll send you flying. I'm really glad I got to draw this. Like, it's funny how I've been practicing kung fu for 4 years, and I've not. This is the first time I've drawn Molly in doing a kung fu pose. So good on the suggestion. Like adding these little spot black parts on places like armpits or, places where there's a deep shadow. Let's see. Catching up on chat. Burr, Cleveland. You called Molly? No, Cleveland. It's the Burrs of real estate. That's fun. Will there be a gelatinous cube character? I'd love to have a gelatinous cube. Like, I think they even in D&D, like they clean dungeons basically of like debris and stuff. They'll clean a hallway, so they'd be great at like, oh no, I mean much like in the pilot, like there's too many corpses in here. Like, just send a gelatinous cube through. It'll clean all that stuff up. In the really early phases of developing Dungeon Flippers, when instead of Molly trying to rebuild her home, she just didn't have one, and she kind of couch surfed a lot. There was originally she was going to have a friend who was a slime, whose job it was to like kind of pick gold coins and useful trinkets out of like out of adventuring parties who may have fallen like in a moat or like in a trap or something like that. I guess like a trap cleaner, basically. Which would be a fun character to revisit. That might be the gelatinous cube. We need to see the tragic backstory of how Molly became Molly after being bullied, and she eventually pushed back using her full Manticore strength, and that's how she learned to stick up for herself. That'd be pretty cool. once again, if this were the bygone days where animated series could just get greenlit for 50 to 100 episodes per season, we could just have a kung fu episode. It'd be great. Just out of nowhere, just like have a whole episode. The Wacky World of Tex Avery got like 100 episodes, but these days it's hard to get 8. I just imagine, let's see. Prince Gojira says, I just imagine like this large reptile the size of a house getting in line to get the license to do stuff. That would be fun. They're just like, I'm here for my permit. There's a 5-day waiting list to destroy a town. In 5 days, you better be ready. I'll destroy your village once my permit is authenticated. Does any ancient history exist in Dungeon Flippers, like ancient languages or civilizations? Ooh, I definitely would love to have that. I haven't quite ironed it out yet because it's not super prevalent to the current story. But I always love that stuff. Like Atlantis: The Lost Empire was like one of my fave movies back in the year 2000 or whenever. So I love that kind of stuff. So I definitely want to have some like, you know, ancient, like, I don't know, maybe they on the third Dungeon Flippers movie, watch them flip Atlantis. They go down into the ocean. That would be a lot of fun. But no, yeah, I love that kind of stuff. Don't have an exact ironed out lore for it yet, but I would love some ancient language and civilization stuff. Buy, raise, reshape, ransom, and rampage. Oh yeah, that's Cairnsburg. Actually, wait. Oh no, hold on. I'll need to. Hers would be Grr, but instead of buy, it's get. It's get, raise, reshape, ransom, and rampage. Grr. I really like that. I'm gonna draw a little coin next to that so I can coin it. Actually, I'll put a little get, raise, reshape, ransom, rampage. I like that. Dungeon Library. Let's see. Were you a fan of the show, The Lost Tape, show of Lost Tapes, the mockumentary of cryptids? Oh, I haven't. I mean, I do love me a cryptid, but I haven't watched Lost Tapes. I should check it out. Oh, Foxtronic's gotta go. It was nice stopping by. Let's see. We're taking any inspiration from any other mythologies. Have any of the animal Egyptian gods ever been clients? Ooh, that'd be a lot of fun. I feel like they'd be very, very big clients. I feel like they'd probably. I want to save them for a little later, but I could definitely see them, like, if they, especially if we were doing ancient civilizations, it might be interesting if they end up finding some pyramids or whatnot, something, you know, kind of in a more Egyptian location and stuff, where there are these kind of Egyptian gods, and those kinds of myths would be a lot of fun to work with. I like that idea. Oh, will the show be pitched to Netflix or a YouTube original? I mean, I guess it kind of is a YouTube original, not backed by YouTube, of course. Netflix does know about Dungeon Flippers. We have talked, but the market for pitching original shows is not very good anywhere. So that door is a bit tight. As for YouTube original, I mean, that sounds pretty cool, but I'm not too sure how I'd get that ball rolling just yet. But I don't know. I like the idea of staying independent, but I also want to be able to make more things. So I'm trying to find the right home for Dungeon Flippers is as difficult as it is being a real estate agent, I'm sure. Big deadly Roomba for the thing. Do you plan in the future have this show dubbed in multiple languages? I know I've been reached out to by a lot of dubbing groups for getting it in other languages, which would be really cool. I think that would be neat. But there are a lot of like both legal things that are a little bit tricky, and it's one of those things. I'm very, what's the word? I guess picky, kind of picky with both casting and translation with different languages. Because it's one of those things I'm aware that I can't tell if acting is good or bad in a language I don't know. So like sometimes I'll hear a foreign language dub of something and it doesn't quite have the right inflection or the right emotional thing that I'm particularly looking for. And so I feel like I really need to devote a fair bit of direction and influence with it. Granted, there have been some fan dubs for the pilot that, once again, sound cool to me, but I also can't tell. And there's also a lot of puns and wordplay that I want to make sure have some degree of an equally humorous translation. I don't know. It's just it's tricky. I'd like to, but it requires a fair bit more work than I have time for. Let's see. Yeah, dodged a bullet with Netflix. Look at what happened to Inside Job, and yeah, that's the thing too. Is I don't know if I'd want to. If I'd really, if I'd really trust Dungeon Flippers in the hands of a lot of studio executives and stuff. I mean, you got to play ball to get stuff done. I know, but yeah, there's just so many shows that have either been drastically altered or cut short or just bought and shelved. That like I and I mean even some of the shows I've worked on have had like a fair degree of like uh overhead influence that really threw a wrench in the whole production. So I'm just very weary with a lot of the big services and stuff. I don't know. Once again though, I'd love to get something greenlit so I could actually make episodes that don't take years to make. But I don't know. I'm keeping my eyes open, but also not trying to sign any contracts too quickly. Oh, thanks Kiwi for mention. I don't think I have saved very much. I know. Control S. Thank you. Ooh, if I were to have a legendary voice actor have a cameo character, who would I pick? Ooh, oh man, so many. That's the thing. Not to oversell my project, but I think Dungeon Flippers works really well as like because it can be a Monster of the Week type of show that you could have different clients could be different celebrity guests. I know early in development of Dungeon Flippers, I was really into the whole musical aspect of things. There's musical numbers in the pilot, there's a musical number in the second episode. I think around the time I was coming up with Dungeon Flippers, I was very much like, what if Lin-Manuel Miranda shows up and he does a rap song? I feel like that, I mean, I don't know, that'd be kind of fun. He could be an interesting character. But no, it is fun to daydream about like just celebrities or who not showing up for things. These days, there's room. There's definitely. Whenever I'm put on the spot, my mind suddenly goes blank. I'm like, wait, who have I wanted to have on the show? I don't know, but I'd love that. Like, I think having celebrity cameos would be a lot of fun. Oh, gotta have Danny DeVito on at some point. That'd be great. So yeah, let's get Lin-Manuel Miranda and Danny DeVito both show up on the same episode for some reason. Have I ever drawn Molly as a magical girl? I have not, but I think I've got that's giving me an idea for next stream. Or sometime in like, yeah, sometime I'll have to draw her as a magical girl. That'd be a lot of fun. I think probably the closest I've drawn her to being a magical girl was recently for the Three Tomes Kickstarter. I drew a little crossover drawing of Molly, you know, dressed up like the Three Tomes characters, and you know, the big floofy dress and stuff. But yeah, we're due for some magical girl outfit Molly sometime soon. Oh, King Tatiana, or Titania. I understand that it just makes sense for a manticore character to have a lot of hair and fluff, but as a girly with a PCOS, I have a massive appreciation for a feminine character with facial hair. Oh, thanks. No, yeah, there've been a couple people, including you, who have really like just resonated with Molly as being, you know, the way she is, and that's such a nice thing to hear, that she's kind of, you know, resonating with folks and people can, you know, get that. So that's awesome. Control S now summons a snail into a random location in your room. Oh no, another one. Oh, Frank Walker would be good. He can do all kinds of voices. Michael Kovac, yeah. I made the joke with some friends that if I were to have Michael as a guest character in the show, I think what I'd like for him to play is as a protagonist in an isekai show. Like, he's this guy from another world, and he's just like, look at my cell phone. Like, I'm the hero who's sent to like do all this cool stuff. I'm overpowered and stuff, and like Mullen Cleveland just being like, that's cool, guy, like, whatever. Because I'm not a very big, I don't really like isekai shows that much. I find that the main characters tend to be really kind of annoying or self-important. But once again, like, spinning that on its head, a isekai protagonist could make a very interesting villain to, you know, native inhabitants of a fantasy world. It'd be an absolute dream to have Tony Weaver Jr. do a voice in the show. Oh, nice. Magical Girl, real estate spinoff, let's go! Oh yeah, Molly as Sailor Moon sort of character, that would be a lot of fun. Question, is being able to draw at least 5 hours a day on your day off good work ethic? I mean, if you enjoy drawing 5 hours a day on your day off, and stuff, that's cool. I especially the older I get, the more I can appreciate the time I don't spend on that grind. In this case, I'm having a lot of fun though, because I don't get to draw for myself too much. Well, I don't get to draw too much for myself. I just spend all my day animating my show. But you know what I mean. Getting to draw kind of fun stuff like this that I wouldn't normally get to. It's a really nice change of pace. And I think, I don't know, once again, I'm enjoying doing this. I might go ahead and move on to color here soon. I do plan on getting a little bit of animation work done tonight off stream, but this is just a really nice, relaxing way to finish up a weekend. But no, I think drawing too much and spending too much time working is not good for your eyes or your brain. You gotta have breaks and you gotta do other stuff, for sure. They can join the spiders. The snails and the spiders will live together in harmony. Ooh, the cast of Ed and Eddie. Those are the That'd be interesting. I was trying to think of Ed and Eddie as monsters in a fantasy world. We're three goblins, and we're here to get all the quarters you got.
Save.
Oh yeah, Tom Kenny's great. Tom Kenny's been in everything. Got to meet him once in real life. When I was in art school in Memphis, I did some work for a local convention in Memphis, and I got to. He was doing the voice of a robot vampire that the head of the convention kind of wrote. Cute little story about a robot vampire. And they had Tom Kenny and some local actors act out the story, and my job was to make like a bunch of illustrations for a book, a little booklet, and then animate a scene of the story of the robot vampire played by Tom Kenny, which was tricky because we were doing a live performance of it, and I had to make sure that the animation and he could match the lip flaps live on stage, and he did a great job. And then we all went out for pizza afterwards.
Swell dude. Very, very, very nice. Very, very cool dude, Tom Kenny.
Ah, River by the Sea. I've doodled frogs and flowers and butterflies so far. I feel like my creative juices have been exhausted. No, yeah, like, you know, when you're getting tired, it's good to stop. But it sounds like you've been making some good drawings. That's fantastic. Oh yeah, I'm a spider. So what? I watched a little bit of that. I did like it more than other isekai shows I've tried starting. I haven't gotten too far in it and stuff, but I liked there being a spider with gumption who's a little motivated and sassy. That was enjoyable. Um, Wolf and Tails. A small thing, but I love the name Splendor. Each time I hear it, it just tickles the brain. Oh yeah, it's a fun, like, kind of on the nose name, but you know, it's like it's the land of splendor. Like, you know, it's just makes you think of a fantasy world that's full of interesting things. I like the name a lot. That's always a thing. Like a lot of times with fantasy, like novels and stuff, you know, they create their own, you know, their own languages or their own like names for things. But sometimes I feel like it's a little bit like a little bit word salad. I like it when characters' names and place names kind of have some degree of meaning, and it's not just like, ah, yes, the town of like that doesn't. You just made that up on the spot. Oh, Illuminated the $5 donation. Thank you so much. That's very generous. I've noticed for the past year that many artists online were shocked that I'm working on a 110 character digital drawing, doing everything myself. Oh, wow. Well, that sounds like a lot of work, but that's really great. Very cool. 110 characters is a lot. Thank you so much for the donation. And best of luck on making that drawing, especially all by yourself. That's really impressive. See, I've been getting good work done here on the character rep I'm doing tonight. Drawing along helps. So thank you for the stream. Oh, thank you.
I like the idea of us all chilling out and making some good art. I'm gonna just... Normally I reference Molly's color palettes when doing color, but I'll just wing it this time. Oh, so bright. Gotta label my layers so I know where I'm going.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Let's see. OMG, where can I find the Tom Kenny video? I wonder. Let me Google real quick to see if it's on there. Oh Lord, there may be a 23-year-old Travis on there somewhere. I'm scared. I'll turn picture of Dorian Gray. I'm going to turn into an old. I'll turn to dust if I see myself. Robots, vampires, and satellites. Terrified.
Worse things than faint.
Huh. If you Google robots, vampires, and satellites on YouTube or on Google, I think the top result is the project I'd made with it. So that's all the drawings, animation, all done by me with voices from the local theater, the Chatterbox Audio Theater, and Tom Kenny starring. Written by Joe Thoderson, the head of the Memphis Comic and Fantasy Convention. I don't think I see the actual footage of Tom Kenny on stage, but they have the animated part. That's cool. No, neat. I didn't know that was on there. Let's see. Oh yeah, John DiMaggio would be fun. Once again, he does a lot of great voices. I'm sure he'd be able to come up with some good ones. Saving. Let's see. Here's a little more yellowy. Alright, putting in some colors. Currently reading the Stormlight Archive right now. Oh yeah. Let's see, wait. Making sure I'm remembering getting my fantasy novels straight. Let's see. Stormlight Archive. Is that the... Yeah, like the Way of Kings and stuff. No, yeah, Brandon Sanderson's definitely very good. I've read a few of his things, yeah. Like Little Ways into Mistborn and the Way of Kings. A few of his other books. No, yeah, Brandon Sanderson's great. Red and gold for colors comes to mind. Yeah, I think I might go. Yeah, red and gold. I might do the Ranma 1/2 colors of the red top and kind of dark color pants. For these. But yeah, like it's gold trim. Detail there. If I wanted to get really fancy, I could add. I should have added like coiling dragon patterns going up the sides or whatever. But I'm already running a fair bit later than I was expecting for this stream. The last. But this is good. The whole magical girl idea gave me the idea of the Dungeon Developers crew stumbling upon ancient artifacts while cleaning up a dungeon. Molly being so good-natured that the artifact mistakes her for the hero. Ooh, that's actually pretty fun. I feel like a lot of times they would be going into places that are, like you said, ancient or like run down. Like even in episode 2, they acquire this dungeon and there's this mysterious door that's been left behind and stuff. So there's definitely, I think, very frequently on the job encounters with ancient artifacts. So Molly getting an ancient magical boon that gets her magical girl powers would be pretty possible. I like that idea for sure. Now I'm thinking about Molly. I was looking at the kung fu clothes, but makes me think about lion dancing. The little 2-person lion outfits that they do with a lot of kung fu schools. I may have to design a traditional looking lion dance costume, but have it give it more of Molly's features. Would be kind of fun. Ooh, I just imagine the Scotsman voice he used in Samurai Jack would be a hilarious character to make.
Oh yeah, I love the Scotsman from Samurai Jack. That'd be a fun type of character to bring into Dungeon Flippers for sure.
Oh yeah, I'd heard about the Vivzy Pop movie. It's like magical dinosaurs and stuff. Well, that's pretty cool.
Hmm, there we go. A little tricky. Sometimes Molly's face and eye colors are a little bit close, or a little bit similar. But yeah, that's getting there.
Oh yeah, Richard Horvitz.
Now he's got a great voice. Uh, I always remember because it's always funny with Richard Horvitz that he's kind of been a very multi-generational voice for so many folks. Different people either grew up with him as Zim or Billy or the one from Hell of a Boss. But well, I think I associate him most with Daggett from Angry Beavers. Definitely, like the first time I remember hearing his voice was Alpha from Power Rangers, with his like, "Ay ay ay, oh no, Rita's stolen all the milk from the school lunches." No, it's interesting that he's like we kind of have these iconic voices for different generations of people for shows and cartoons. That's really cool. He'd be great as a to do a cameo voice.
I haven't heard of.
Toasted shoes, but yeah, sounds cool though.
Huh.
Saving. Oh, pants are a little bit cooler. Getting in the zone. Let's see. Pants. Mm, Trying to think what color her sash should be. While I think about what color her sash should be, add little highlights. The highlights really make her eyes come alive. Oh, I missed a spot with that. Ooh, jade green for the sash. Let me give that a try. Let's see. I'll put it on a different layer so I can just switch it around after the fact. Oh yeah, there we go. No, it's more of a teal really, but I like that. I like teal a lot, so that sounds good. But no, good call. Wolfkin. Next. One, two. What would it look like if I... do a big gradient? Over things. Oh, my eyes. That was the part where I switch around all the different blending layers way too much. Trying to remember what they do. This is getting somewhere. This is starting to give me some vintage kung fu film deterioration look. I like, or like an old scroll or something, an old kung fu manual. Ooh, now we're getting somewhere. Nope, too much. Also, I haven't filled in her teeth. Not a lot of contrast, though. First things first. The rainbow Molly. Yeah, I think a lot of times I like to add the like a gradient like with a certain blending layer just to add a little bit of color variation so it's not super flat at the tube looking, you know, and stuff. It adds a little more, I don't know, just a subtle variety of things beyond just shade, but you know, also color changes. Start adding a little bit of shading. And we're a little over 2 hours in the stream, but I think I might do like a basic, like a simple shading. Before calling it a stream. Oftentimes I like to have a little soft pass. Wait, say that, where is it? little darker. Yeah, somewhere on there. A very soft pass. Rendering is not one of my strong suits, but I get by. I want that to be fairly light because pretty subtle. It's easy to get overboard with this kind of airbrushed look. I try to avoid too much of that. There. Working on the wrong layers. Very relaxing, very chill, just doing some shading. Have I ever watched Pretty Cure? Not really. I know of Pretty Cure. I know it's a very iconic magical girl series. It's got like the two girls. I feel like I know it best from an episode of the anime Gintama, where two of the older ladies were doing a parody of it, of the old ladies as magical girls. Very iconic show, Pretty Cure, but I've not watched it. Well, I do love their outfits though. Definitely good inspiration for some good magical girl outfits. I'm too far out. I haven't watched Dragon Strikers yet. Still need to give it a shot. Don't have a lot of time for watching stuff too much these days, but definitely looks like a cool show. Definitely reminds me a lot of the what is it, Dofus or Wakfu. A lot of those kind of French anime shows. Very stylish. Let's see. Prince Gojira. But anyway, the best of wishes to your series and the day and your day, man. Glad I'm ahead up. Glad to be part. It was great having you here, Prince Gojira. Ooh, Witch Hat, Altelier, or however you pronounce it. Yeah, I've been watching a few episodes of that actually. Really gorgeous show. I was reading the manga back when the manga was being localized. but I was borrowing the volumes from a friend, so I only got to read a handful of the volumes of Witch Hat. But it's been neat seeing how they adapted and animated some of the episodes. It's looking really pretty so far. Really dig it. Very cute show. Oh yeah, the Bunnicula show. I know, it was really because it was a book first, and it seems like a lot of people really liked the books. And I remember Cartoon Network making the Bunnicula show, but it was one of those. It was definitely in that transitionary time of Cartoon Network when it was mostly just Teen Titans Go all the time, which might be still a thing. But it seemed like the Bunnicula show wasn't on very much whenever I was watching Cartoon Network. But it definitely looked interesting, and once again, it's a very iconic book. I'm surprised it didn't take off that well.
Would I rather try to survive an infection AU or an analog horror?
It's funny. I'm not well versed, especially in either. But I almost feel like with analog horror, like when I watch analog, or my limited experience of analog horrors, I still feel like, and maybe it's because I watch too much JoJo, but when I see like a mascot horror or like some kind of like scary thing, like there is a part of me where it's like, but what if I just hit it really hard? With an infection, there's not much I can do, but I can't punch a disease. But if it's like a spooky creature made out of videotapes, I feel like I'd stand a little more of a chance. So probably leaning towards analog horror, but often that depends on the circumstances.
Have I seen the 2015?
I have not. I remember the year 2015, but I've not seen the movie. Dating the frog buttons. Definitely a little more of a rough and ready shading this go around. I think if I were doing something else, I'd probably spend a little more time with it, but I think at the rate I'm going, it'll be a good 2.5 hour stream illustration time. Oh, the 2015 Goosebumps movie. No, I've not seen it. I know a friend who was trying to get, or who was going to be an extra in that movie. They were doing a lot of filming of it here in Atlanta, but I think they didn't make the final cut, unfortunately. But no, I haven't seen it. I feel like there's just something. Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, especially, there's something very 90s kids remember, but there's something very particular about that era of kid kid horror stuff that I feel like just whenever I saw the trailers for the 2015 Goosebumps movie, it just felt a bit overproduced and a bit overly I don't know, polished or something. It just didn't quite have the same feel that Goosebumps had, and Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark and that stuff had back in the day. But if I'd watched it, I would have gotten more of those vibes. But who can say? This leg will all be entirely shadowed. More of this saving. My mouse kind of stopped where it was going, and I was like, save, save, save. Oh, shaded the hand yet. Once again, I'm not the most refined or realistic shading person, so usually for me it's the a level of soft shading, a level of this kind of more cell shading, and then I go crazy with the rim lights and call it a day. Like if I were being proper, I'd be thinking more about light source, casting the shadows properly, and stuff. But I don't know. It would help. It would behoove me to do a little more studies in lighting and the direction of cast shadows and stuff. But most of the time, I'm animating characters and don't have to worry too much about the lighting or the shading. And it's really only in these little illustrations which I do the old classic routine of having them exist in a void. It's on the list of things I'd like to learn to get better at someday. There you go. Alright, I'm going to add some rim lights. What's chat saying? Little Miss Kiwi says, the one thing I liked about the movie was the werewolf in the grocery store. Should have been more of him. Oh, I think I remember seeing, like, in the posters in the trailer, like, a werewolf. Oh, yeah, interesting. I don't know. What are these, like, in general, I need to actually sit down and watch some of these things. Like, I just remember when it was coming out, I wasn't too interested, but I don't know. Sounds like there could be some cool stuff I may have been missing out on. I should check it out. No, yeah, 90s, 90s shows, yeah, for sure. Like, that was, yeah, the 90s Nickelodeon where they had, yeah, Are You Afraid of the Dark and Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude and a lot of those early Nick tunes and Double Dare. I don't know, yeah, there was just something about them where they were kind of throwing a lot of stuff at the wall. And there was kind of it was low, kind of lower budget looking, but it had an earnestness to it that really came through. Whereas I feel like a lot of stuff, these days where they try to make it look a little too clean, a little too dynamic, it kind of loses that charm. Oh yeah, Animorphs, the TV show, was similar. Yeah, for sure. Gray Catif. Last time I too must call it a night. Thanks for the chill stream. I look forward to more episodes. Loving the premise as well as the world building. Thank you so much. Did someone say Double Dare? I hadn't seen the 2010s one, but I remember seeing the OG Double Dare. Was that the same one where you'd have to pick the nose and find a flag in the nose, or like find a flag in inside the big hamburger and climb the aggro crag? Or am I getting it mixed up with Guts? I always wanted to climb the aggro crag from Double Dare, or or whatever show it was. It always looked so scary and cool. Probably not very safe by OSHA standards. Oh yeah, it's all coming together. Oh yeah, the Doctor Who. Yeah, I was big into Doctor Who for a while too. Did a lot of notes. There we go. I'm gonna put the erase that little mark here. Got it. Just about got it. I'm gonna put the GUR stuff on a different layer. Add a little bit of texture to the background. Doubleday, you're thinking of as 1986 to 93. Yep, that's probably the one I'm remembering. Yeah, I think I preferred Are You Afraid of the Dark over Goosebumps. Let's see, which of these? Texture. Yes. Yeah, there's the stuff. Okay. I'm also gonna crop this down. Add a little bit of a vignette. No, thanks, Wolfkin. Yeah, it's coming together. Getting close to wrapping up on this one. Saving. Real looseness. What happened to the old Avatar? My mind, at first I was like, you mean the Airbender? Or you might be talking about my personal avatar, maybe. I don't know. Just thought I needed to upgrade. Something a little different. Oh, this is looking nice. Wonder if blended in a different way. Ooh, not bad.
wonder, I might try. After looking at my storyboards, my brain keeps wanting to imagine a grid line down for perspective behind her.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely the case with a lot of storyboards. This is definitely giving me some old like Kung Fu manual from the 30s or something kind of vibe. Obviously the shading is a lot. They wouldn't have done any drastic shading for a old Kung Fu manual or anything, but kind of liking the kind of faded, tattered look to it. I wonder seeing about what have I might add this and then immediately regret it. So we will see what happens if I put a little bit of texture on her. Blended it and then made it real light, just so it's very faint. Try every blending thing I okay, so what if I did this? Had it super light, got rid of some of the rougher spots. But kept it
Crouching Molly, Hidden Dragon.
yeah, yes, Cleveland is also here on this image, just somewhere you can't see where he's hiding. Oh yeah, I still need to watch the new Avatar movie. I hear it's good. Like just the visuals and the fun factor, like all that stuff. And I mean, I'm down for that. And they look so cool as grown-ups. I'm excited to see them doing all kinds of cool bending stuff. I want to make sure I don't lose this this idea. I'll keep it closer, but I'm gonna pop a little closer. I may give her like a little bit of a drop shadow just to help sell the 7-star stance that she's in. We'll see how that looks.
I should do Kung Fu Cleveland next time. Ooh, yeah, it'd be fun to have him doing some like dragon claws
and a cool pose like that, or something. I think Kung Fu Cleveland. Kung Fu Cleveland sounds like a new action figure coming out. A Kung Fu Cleveland would be pretty cool. A little more. 7-star stance is based off the Big Dipper. With the idea that you're making kind of a Big Dipper shape out of the like there's the handle, and then the bent leg is kind of like the ladle part of the Big Dipper. But the 7 stars of the Big Dipper making that stance pose. That's why it's called the 7-star stance. Or so I've been heard. That's how I've heard. And just because it's been chill and it makes me feel like Bob Ross doing this stream, I'll do something I don't usually do, and that's sign my art. For some reason, I very rarely do. Because I'm feeling the vibe. Let's go ahead and put my name down there. Although I might make it Yeah, that's fine. Why am I so weird about not signing my stuff? Nice, and saving. I like this drawing. This is a cool drawing.
Ooh, I missed some fun chat stuff. The barely visible Cleveland watermark. Yeah, I genuinely really enjoyed drawing this, mixing, kind of mixing my passions with Kung Fu and Dungeon Flippers. So I think a Molly or a Cleveland next time, or in my free time, for would be a fun one to make, a companion piece to this. I might have Cleveland facing the opposite direction, so it looks like they're gonna fight. It'd be really neat. With real estate action. Watch her throw paperwork. Oh yeah, the new Avatar show with the twins. No, yeah, it's interesting seeing how that goes. Yeah, Poe's got some competition. Molly is not a manticore, she's the manticore. She's the real estate agent. Yeah, this turned out great. Rod Moss, the famous monster painter who has identified 3,000 colors of painting moss. Oh. Yeah, this would make a pretty fun print. It's not set in stone yet, but me and some other indie friends were thinking about getting a table at MomoCon in Atlanta next year. And it's been fun because it's given me a little bit of motivation of like, oh, well, what have I made some new prints and some new merch and stuff, and had it ready for people to see at MomoCon next year, which is in May in Atlanta. I'm very much wanting to do it, so I'll probably do it. But that'd be fun. Molly was the Dragon Warrior all along. It'd be so funny if like Cleveland's there at the temple, the Jade Palace or whatever, and the Jade Temple, and it's like, wait, I thought I was the Dragon Warrior. I'm a dragon. Why am I not the Dragon Warrior? It's like, nope, it's Molly. It turns out. I'm literally a dragon, guys. Real estate art, half price chop. Slasher of prices, the cutter of middlemen. FlipperCon 2027. Oh yeah, Heathens. Yeah, Heathens is looking pretty cool. Like the whole like the art direction. I really love like the backgrounds, especially with Heathens. And stuff. Like, and they're getting it done. They're like, what is it? They're working on the next their episode and stuff, and they've been getting some good traction. So right on for Heathens. Oh, they have a live stream going on right now at the same time, huh? That's interesting. Oh yeah, I love Kung Fu Panda a lot. It's a fun franchise. I still prefer the first one the most, but it like the sequels are the sequels for sequels are pretty good. It's a it's a monitor to monitor stream competition instead of like amp to amp for bands. I'm sure their stream probably got I don't know, but I don't think I'd stand a chance against them, but it's all good. Oh yeah. No, yeah, like I've got like obviously for merch ideas, obviously I will be playing it safe with like, buttons and stickers and prints and maybe some wholesale plushies to sell, wink wink wink. But my mind also loves the ideas of like what was it? I was thinking a vinyl standee like play set of like dungeon decor things that you could like. One side is like bits of dungeon decor that's broken down, and then the flip side is like things all like fixed up to where you can make a little like mobile, or what are they called? A little what's it called? I don't know, a little play set or something like that, or some like IKEA furniture instructions, but it's with Molly and Cleveland as the little IKEA guy with like silly instructions. Would you do a Christmas episode or a beach episode? Yes and yes. I think if you dig way back into my old social media posts and art, there is one of like Molly dressed up as Krampus. I like the idea of like Molly saves Krampus night. It's like, oh no, Krampus has broken his leg. Who will steal away the children, the naughty children? Like, Molly, you have to like put on my Krampus suit and go save Krampus night. That would be a lot of fun. And then beach episode, I think I talked on the previous stream where like I love a beach season, like a whole season, like kind of like how real estate shows will have like, oh, it's House Hunters, like coastal or international, but like doing a whole season that's like the Dungeon Flippers and a kind of a beach region, doing a whole bunch of different properties and having like an overarching story, but also like, you know, a lot of fun beach time and tropical views and locations and stuff. So once again, if I could just get, you know, 50 episode seasons greenlit, I'd just be writing tons of episodes of, you know, fun beach time stuff. Oh, nice. Oh yeah, Bucky Deer. No, yeah, I remember seeing your drawing. It was really nice. Always love seeing some fan art, for sure. Oh, that's a good point. Depending on the latitude, Christmas and beach episodes could be the same. Yeah, they go to the Australia or the Southern Hemisphere, if the world is round. Definitely good. Ooh, the whole like, would it be good to to help Krampus or not? I feel like for the bit of it being kind of like, I feel like with Christmas episodes, there's always a little bit of suspension, or a lot of suspension of disbelief with like, oh, you know, like the Flintstones having Santa Claus and stuff. Like, I think for an episode where it's like the holiday episode, it would be fun to just be like, oh, of course, we have to help Krampus. And kind of playing it up to be more of a parody of Christmas shorts. That it might not be 100% fit in the nature of the show, but we could probably get pretty close. And maybe to Monsters, they see Krampus as kind of like I was gonna say a benevolent figure. I'm like, no, I don't think he's that benevolent, but I mean, like, maybe they don't see him as bad. I don't know, he still steals children. Maybe he lets them go after teaching them a lesson. I don't know. Ooh, flipping a haunted ship, like a ghost ship. Oh, there's so much good beach potential for beach real estate stuff. And oceans and Atlantis and grottos and islands and stuff. Yeah, punishing bad behavior seems good. No, yeah, seeing this is kind of like I was talking about earlier. It's like that's the thing I love about Dungeon Flippers is that obviously while I personally want to come up with a lot of ideas to make real, like it inspires other people to have their own creative ideas for things that will be fun. Not necessarily for my own benefit, although sometimes y'all come up with some great bangers of ideas that I'm like, oh wait, hold on, let me write that down. But just you know, it sparks imagination in others, and I like that a lot. That's true. That's maybe Molly is supposed to, like, I don't know, cook the children a stew, but she decides to teach them a lesson. Like, maybe she's the one who will bring change and changes the holiday a little bit. She doesn't beat up the children with reeds. She, like, I don't know, teaches them a useful skill and sends them on their way. I'm not sure. All right. Oh yeah, they could run into Scooby-Doo. That'd be fun. All right. Well, I'm feeling pretty good on this drawing, and we've been at it for close to 3 hours. I was gonna keep it short, but I was having too much fun. So I think I'm gonna call it here. But thank you so much, everyone, for stopping by and chatting and, you know, having lots of fun things to talk about and say. And hopefully got to provide some fun stuff to watch, you know, watching me draw this Kung Fu Molly. Gotta get Kung Fu Cleveland out sometime soon. And stuff. But I hope all y'all have a good rest of your Sunday and a good week. I know for sure I won't be able to stream next Sunday. Talking about Kung Fu. The third Sunday of every month in my Kung Fu class, we train with our stabs, and we do it for over 8 hours. So it's from noon to 8 o'clock at night. So I will not be here for streaming. But I've really been enjoying these. I think I might be a regular thing Sunday evenings. So hope you all have a good day and everything. And I'm gonna end the stream. All right, good night, everybody.